Prabhuji, we are ready, Prabhu.
Okay.
Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Today we are very glad and pleased to have the association of His Grace Suvarnagaura Hare Prabhu, who will be sharing the nectar from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 5, chapter number 26, sloka number 20 and 21. Prabhuji will have to finish the class by, will be finishing the class by 7:55 and he needs to leave by 8 o'clock. So the question and the answer session will be very short. Thank you, Prabhuji. Over to you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So reading from Canto 5, chapter 26, which is entitled The Description of Hellish Planets. So chapter shloka number 20 and 21 talk about two hellish planets. So let's read and discuss about it. Yastu iha va agamyam striyam agamyam va purusham yoshid abhigacchati tav amutra kashaya ताडयन्तस दिग्मया सूर्म्या लोहमय्या पुरुषम आलिंगयन्ति स्त्रियं च पुरुषरूपाय सूर्म्या. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A man or woman who indulges in sexual intercourse with an unworthy member of the opposite sex is punished after death by the assistants of Yamaraj in the hell known as Tapta Surmi. There, such men and women are beaten with whips. The man is forced to embrace a red-hot iron form of a woman, and the woman is forced to embrace a similar form of a man. Such is the punishment for opposite sex. Generally, a man should not have a sexual relationship with any woman other than his wife. According to Vedic principles, the wife or wife of another man is considered one's mother, and sexual relationships are strictly forbidden with one's mother, sister, and daughter. If one indulges in illicit sexual relationship with another man's wife, that activity is considered identical with having sex with one's mother. This act is more sinful. The same principle holds for a woman also. If she enjoys sex with a man other than her husband, the act is tantamount to having sexual relations with father or son. Illicit sex life is always forbidden, and any man or woman who indulges in it is punished in the manner described in this verse. So this talks about Tapta Surmi, and next verse talks about Yastviha vai sarva vigama tam amutra niraye vartamanam vajrakantaka sharmalim aropya nishkarshanti. A person who indulges in sex indiscriminately, even with animals, is taken after death to the hell known as Vajrakantaka Shalmali. In this hell, there is a silk cotton tree full of thorns as strong as thunderbolts. The agents of Yamaraj hang the sinful man on top of the tree and pull him down forcibly so that the thorns very severely tear his body. The sexual urge is so strong that sometimes a man indulges in sexual relationship with a cow, or a woman indulges in sexual relationship with a dog. Such men and women are put into the hell known as Vajrakantaka Shalmali. The Krishna consciousness movement forbids illicit sex. From the description of these verses, we can understand what an extremely sinful act illicit sex is. Sometimes people disbelieve these descriptions of hell. But whether one believes or not, everything must be carried out by the laws of nature, which no one can avoid. ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं श्रीगुरुं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम पदाय कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतस्य नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपीकांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी शुभांसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा। So we are discussing this fifth canto, chapter entitled The Description of Hellish Planets. So some of the descriptions are very scary. The punishment awarded are also very horrible to hear, not to speak of seeing them or experiencing them. So one devotee was there in ISKCON. He had joined ISKCON initial days during Prabhupada's time. And during Prabhupada's time, Srimad Bhagavatam cantos were being released one by one. When Prabhupada went to America, only first canto was there. Then he published second canto, then third canto, fourth canto. Like one by one cantos were being published. So once upon a time, fifth canto was published. Okay. So one devotee who had joined the temple, but somehow he got attracted to material life. He got attracted to sense gratification. The purva vasanas came back to him. So he decided to leave the temple and go and enjoy life. So he went out and he started enjoying, like drinking, eating, without any discrimination. He started indulging freely in all the activities of sense gratification. And after a long time, maybe a couple of years, the fifth canto was published and devotees distributing books. And whichever canto was released, devotees will take that and try to distribute. So they came across this person and he showed the book, Srimad Bhagavatam, fifth canto. And this person remembered, oh, I have read Srimad Bhagavatam first canto. But this fifth canto, what is there in this? He was curious. So he just flipped the pages and he saw this chapter entitled Description of Hellish Planets. And he saw the photographs. He said, my God, I will take this book. He said, he went and he read all the verses of the 26th chapter of this book. And he said, hey, this sinful activity, this reaction, this sinful activity, this reaction. Like this, he was doing match the following. He said, I have done this, I have done this, I have done this. My God, such a sinful punishment is awaiting me. He got scared. He said, then he also read that the only way to escape from all this is surrender to Krishna. So he came running to the temple and told the temple president, I want to surrender. Can you please engage me in service? So then he was admitted back into the center and continued doing devotional service. So sometimes fear is also essential to bring people to God. And sometimes people don't listen by, mild pravachan, jokes and simple way of speaking. Sometimes people have to be shaken up thoroughly. And when they're shaken up, when they're afraid of punishment, that's the time they can come to Krishna consciousness also. So that's why sometimes fear is also essential. Healthy fear is essential to take up seriously to Krishna consciousness. For those who are very casual, chalta hai, sometimes this attitude may come. Oh, sometimes eating in the hotel chalta hai, sometimes uh, cheating for the sake of earning money chalta hai, right? So sometimes we can neglect some activities of dharma. But Bhagavatam is no, if you neglect the activity, then we'll be punished because nature's laws are stringent. Prabhupada said that, right? Sometimes people disbelieve in these descriptions of hell. But whether when believes or not, everything must be carried out by the laws of nature, which no one can avoid. No one can avoid these laws of nature. Very, very terrible, very stringent. One can avoid the laws of Kanun in the metal world, but one cannot escape the laws of the universal God. So that's why. So sometimes fear is also essential. Fear of sin, fear of displeasing the Lord is also essential to progress in Krishna consciousness. So that's why these descriptions are given for, especially for those who take things casually, who are not very serious. For them, these descriptions are an impetus to take up seriously. So you're reading all the descriptions of hells of different categories. Today we are reading this specific hell called as Tapta Surmi and Vajrakantaka Shalmali. Tapta Surmi. Surmi is actually a column of metal, and Tapta means molten or red hot column of metal. So that's called Tapta Surmi. And people who have indulged in sex life, illicit sex life. Illicit sex life means sex before marriage and sex outside of marriage relationships. That's called illicit relationships. So somebody who does that, this kind of hell is awaiting him, right? Where he has to embrace a hot metal body of the opposite sex. If man has indulged in sex life with illicit sex with a woman, then this man has to embrace the hot body of red hot body of this molten metal lady. And if woman has done that, then reverse. She has to embrace the molten hot body of a man. So that is the punishment. You can't even touch fire. What to speak of red hot metal body? And you can't even, when you cook, you put the tawa on flame and then you're cooking. That itself is so hot. We can't touch that. What if we have red hot tawa or red hot metal? Can't even imagine how hot it is and what damage it can do to the tissues of the body. Such punishment is awarded to those who are having illicit sex. So that is a warning for those who are having the desire to do illicit sex, especially materialistic people. Nowadays, this has become a fashion that man and woman, again, what is called dating in the Western world, it is familiar. Dating, okay, let's date today. People go, right? Boy and girl go together. They spend a night, come back, and they have also this something called as okay one night relationship, and there's also something called live-in relationships that we will not get married, but we will stay together. We will enjoy together without any commitment of married life. There is no bondage of marriage, but we'll enjoy. That's called live-in relationship. You can see so many boys and girls getting into this live-in relationships, especially working boys and girls, because they have money, they have freedom, and they have desire to enjoy. So they choose different partners and then enjoy, and then after some time it becomes boring. They change another partner. So such kind of in what's called in another terms you can say it is prostitution. Right? Without any commitment, they are engaging in relationships. So that's nothing but prostitution. Prostitution is not there. They want to enjoy for the sake of pleasure and earn some money. So similarly here also, man and boy and girl, they come together, enjoy, and after some time change partners to have different experience. So this kind of trend which is going on nowadays, and even in cities like Bangalore is not an exception. This is there. So there are buildings, hostel with boys and girls together. Right, I was going through one of the corporate areas in Bangalore, and I saw a big hoarding of a advertising accommodations. Right, it was written for kings and queens, for boys and girls who live in hostel. So that kind of advertisements are going on. I was going here near Kengeri, what's it called, Global Village area. They're also advertising live in hostels. So such kind of things are being glamorized and publicized and encouraged. And what will happen? So these live-in relationships are very, very detrimental, right? Then the consequences are, uh, people don't realize the consequences. Later on, they will realize. Right? They'll not have any emotional bonding with one person because they keep changing partners. And in case they have a child, who will take responsibility, the boy or the girl? Right? And generally they go for abortion. Right? In case they want to raise a child also, but who will take responsibility? Right? Generally the boy will, okay, impregnate and go away. Prabhupada used to say this: boy will impregnate and go away, and who has to bear the burden of the child? Yeah, the girl has to bear the burden of the child. And then if she has no job, then who will maintain both of them? And government has to maintain. So ultimately, headache comes on the management and the government. So there is kind of consequences which are coming nowadays. So that's why one should propagate, and one should that this is illicit, this is not good, and one should enter into a legal married life where one takes the oath of commitment that till the end of life I'll stay together, we will stay together, and support each other, help each other in all situations, whether thick or thin, good or bad, right? So in whatever situation, we will help each other, support each other. That's the kind of bonding which is there in married life. But in live-in relationships, in illicit sexual relationships, this kind of bonding is not available. So that's why it's called illicit sex. So one should not indulge in that. So when you are preaching Krishna consciousness, you may encounter some people, some boys who are having such kind of tendencies. So it's our duty to educate them, right? Srila Prabhupada, when he went to America, yes, it was rampant. The boys and girls will stay together. In fact, Prabhupada was once homeless. When David came to attack Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was on the streets, and then he called one well-wisher, right? I think his name was Carl or something. And then he went there, and then he had to stay with them. There's no option. And this boy and girl, they were staying together. They were not married, and they had a cat in their home. And Swamiji somewhat adjusted for some days in their home. But later on, Prabhupada said that you should get married. You can't have illicit sex like this. And then when time of initiation came, Prabhupada personally arranged marriage of his disciples so that they will lead a harmonious married life. So Prabhupada, that's why Prabhupada did marry. Although sannyasis are not supposed to do marriage samskaras, but still he did it because he felt the necessity, isn't it? So one can encourage boys and girls to enter married life after choosing a partner, a suitable partner, but one should not encourage illicit sexual relationships. And nowadays in college also you'll see that boys and girls sit together, they talk together, they eat together, they go to roam together. And what will happen if boys and girls do that? Naturally, they will develop affinity for someone, and they may indulge in such relationships even before marriage also. So such kind of consequences are there, which has to be thought of, and then we should give up. Sankalpa Jayat Kamam. It is said that one should win over this desire of lust by great determination. Only by determination one can overcome this tendency of illicit sex. Sankalpa Jayat Kamam. So that is so this one thing called as Tapta Surmi. Another thing is, another hell is Vajrakantaka Shalmali. It is said that those who are more perverted, having more perverted sexual desires, right? Sarva Abhigamam means for sex they will go to anybody, right? Previous was talked about approaching opposite sex outside of marriage life, but here it is talking about Sarva Abhigamam, right? Sarva Abhigamam, indulge in sex life indiscriminately with both man and animals, right? So there's more perverted. Like we see that nowadays a movement which is going on. It's called LGBT and plus. They call it as plus means many more are there. So man and man getting attracted to each other and having relationships. Woman and woman having relationships. So, and even in Bhagavatam says, Sarva is animals, even men and women having sexual relationship with animals also is seen, it seems. So such kind of perverted desires are there. It means this goes to show that how the lust in the heart can drive a person crazy to such an extent, extreme extent, right, of having a sexual relationship with pet animals. So this is very, very sinful. So that's a very severe punishment is awarded. So, and what is that punishment? He is put on the top of a tree, hanged on top of a tree called as Vajra Kantaka. Vajra Kantaka, Kantaka means thorns. Vajra Kantaka means thorns as strong as diamonds, very, very strong, sharp. Shalmali is a tree. So this tree is full of thorns as strong as diamonds. And from there, the person is pulled down forcibly, terribly. And when he's pulled down, what happens? His body is cut into thousands of pieces. So when he's cut into thousand pieces, he's in terrible pain. So that's the kind of suffering which is awarded to people who are very, very perverted in their sex life. So the sex life is very, very actually sex life could be avoided completely. Prabhupada says even in married life, one should have sex only for begetting children. To that extent, Prabhupada is very strict. And for some people, Prabhupada said, forget it, right? So one should not even have sex life, especially brahmacharis, sannyasis. One should forget about sex life. There's no scope for that. And grahasthas, they should regulate in a fashion in such a way that only for producing Krishna conscious children who can be great leaders of the society. For that purpose, one can have sex. And vanaprasthas in retired life, no sex. So brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, sannyasis, no sex. So who is allowed to have sex? Only grahasthas. And that too in a particular day for begetting children. So that much strict shastras are about sex life. So one should, so, so to the degree we are free from sex life, to that degree we are advanced. That's the conclusion. Prabhupada said, how much free are you from sex desire? That much advanced we are. So, and even the science says that every alternate thought is of the sex, especially in materialistic circles. People are so obsessed with sex. Every few thoughts is a thought of sex. So that much obsession people have. And nowadays, you will see with advancement in technology, right? People have very easy access to sex life. Previously, if somebody has to have illicit sex, he has to go to prostitute far away, indulge. But nowadays, the internet is making available all dirty things on the phone, and especially youth are getting diverted. Right? Yesterday, I was giving a seminar in the college, and the principal was telling that the most the thing which is spoiling the children the most is the smartphone and internet. And because of using smartphone and internet, the boys and girls are getting polluted in their consciousness. Right? They are not studying, they are not regular, they are not honest, they are not truthful, they are not respectful, they are wasting their time, they're not serious about their career also. So such kind of tendencies are coming. And youth are also getting distracted and diverted by the social media. So, so that actually in the previous days when sadhu was doing tapasya and apsaras will come, Ramba, Urvashi, Menaka will come and then distract and disturb tapasya. Similarly, in modern age, in Kali Yuga, the smartphone is apsara. Right? It keeps telling us, watch me, watch me, watch me. Right? Hollywood, Bollywood, and so many other things. No? So that's why one should keep very minimum utility of a smartphone for calling and only for service purpose. And even for devotees also it's a danger. Right? Because even if somebody may not have any intention of misusing, but still the design of the phone is such a way that no, inadvertently there can be some pop-ups and things which may come or messages which may come which may divert us and distract us and pollute our consciousness. So one should be very careful of using it only for service and not for anything else. So that's the purpose. So now coming, till now we're discussing about illicit sex, but let's discuss the opposite of it. So if somebody indulges in illicit sex, he is breaking the principle of cleanliness. It makes a person unclean. Right? Just like uh, gambling breaks the principle of truthfulness. Meat eating breaks the principle of mercy. And then drinking breaks the principle of austerity. Similarly, illicit sex is breaking the principle of cleanliness. A person becomes dirty after sex life. So that's called uncleanliness. And especially illicit sex is very, very unclean. So that's why Prabhupada is emphasizing in his purports that one should maintain the quality of cleanliness, both internal and external. Externally, one should be clean by taking bath, brushing one's teeth, wearing fresh clothes. I have a notes by Radhesham Prabhu where he talks about this concept of cleanliness. And Prabhu says here, it's cleanliness. Saucham or cleanliness refers to both internal and external purity. One should remain externally clean by bathing at least once and, if possible, 3 times daily. One is considered internally pure when he is free from the pollution of false ego and egotism, false pride and egotism. Krishna describes the asuras, the demoniac. Now shocham napi chacharo na satyam desha vidyate. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. Gita 16.7. External cleanliness is important, but it has to be done in connection with Krishna. The high standard of cleanliness in worshipping the deity and the temple indicates worshipper's devotion. So when we are more clean inside and outside, then we will have less passion for sex life. If one is very unclean internally and externally, then he will have great passion for sex life. So the degree we follow this principle of cleanliness, we can reduce our passion, passion come ho jata hai. The example is given that how Raghav Pandit, he was such a great devotee that he will be extremely clean in serving Krishna. Once he got a coconut from long distance, and the servant brought it, and the servant while entering the home, he just touched the sill, and then he touched the coconut. He said, "Oh, this is unclean." Because many people touch there, and then it's dirty, contaminated, and you're touching the same hand to this. So you throw this coconut, go back and get another coconut. So this servant had to go walk a long distance again and get a good coconut. So this is the kind of cleanliness which Raghu Pandit used to follow. So in other words, out of pure devotion, the devotee wants to make the best and cleanest offering of worship to the Lord. Our spiritual master has encouraged us that when we are cleaning the paraphernalia for deity, we are actually cleaning our hearts. Right? When you clean our patra, deity patra, so we are actually cleaning our heart. So in very recent times, the wave of sexual promiscuity has covered the sense of wrong in unclean dealings. According to Bhagavad Gita, sexual affair, like anything else, should only be utilized in the service of the Supreme. Krishna says, I am the sex life according to religious principles. This means that sex should only be within marriage for propagating a child to be raised in God consciousness. Right? This is the only purpose of sex life. There is no other utility of sex life and the sex organs. This means that sex should only be within marriage for propagating a child to be raised in God consciousness. Profanity and obscenity assent the speech of even the most sophisticated persons. In fact, it is considered a mark of sophistication to be able to drop obscene words without a trace of embarrassment. Nowadays, we see, especially among youth, the boys and girls, they use such obscene, profane languages. Right? Every prefix and every suffix is obscene. Right? You can't even hear such words. Right? So such kind of talks are there. So it is considered to be very glamorous. Right? But actually, civilized people get embarrassed by such things. But these people, they don't even feel anything. They're using such kind of words very, very, very loosely. Right? And pornography in literature, films, and other forms of entertainment has become one of the biggest industries in the world, protected by powerful business interests and reverently given freedom by the highest courts of justice. Right? So even courts also are allowing pornography. They are allowing obscene literatures. You see, many magazines, right? Even newspapers will have supplements, and supplements are so obscene, right? Sometimes it's all dirty photos, Bollywood photos are put there. And people who have the tendency to buy those things and see, right? So one boy who is preaching, so he went to one hostel for registering people for the program, and he went inside, and all the walls are covered with Bollywood actresses, Hollywood actresses, right? So he immediately came out of the room. He could not even talk to that boy. So why? Because the boys and girls nowadays are attracted to such kind of things, and they shamelessly make these people as ideals, right? So instead of making Krishna and devotees as ideals, they make these Hollywood actresses who spread profanity and obscenity in this world. So although there is censor board, but I don't know how much they are censoring, because still they are allowing such kind of things to pollute the consciousness of the individuals. And we see the consequences, very terrible. We see how the crimes are increasing, murders are increasing, rape cases are increasing, right? It's all because of watching such things. When people watch such kind of dirty things, eventually they do such kind of dirty things. So that's why one should be taught. All boys should be taught to practice brahmacharya, strict brahmacharya, no connection with women, no touching any girl, even in the college, right? So that kind of strictness should be maintained, right? Temples also we should maintain strict distance between man and woman. In case they have to talk to each other, it should be only for service sake and no private personal talks. Otherwise, that will contaminate the devotee environment also. So one should be maintaining this fire and butter principle. Fire and butter. When they come together, butter melts. So similarly, so when man and woman come together, there will be melting of the heart and there will be tendency for illicit relationships. So that's why Srila Prabhupada wanted strict um, dealings between man and woman within the society also. So if the community is very casual about this, allow mixing of boys and girls, even for the sake of so-called service and all, that will lead to damage. And even while doing dramas, while doing kirtans and while so interacting in some service, one should, okay, boys can do it separately, girls can do separately, right? So it can be duty worship or any kind of service. So there should be a strict discipline of how if somebody is coming for duty worship, then husband and wife can together enter the altar. But if in the altar men are there, then or only women are there, then men entering will not be good. Okay, there is issue only women or only men or husband and wife together. So such kind of disciplines are essential so so that the accidents can be prevented even within devotee circle. So what to speak of outside world? Outside world is a lot of intermingling, and there is surely such things happening. So we should also protect our devotee community and be vigilant on such things. So one should practice the principle of internal and external cleanliness. Then one will be able to maintain the principles of Krishna consciousness. Yeah, then Prabhupada writes. So there are crows and swans. Crows are like birds which relish in the garbage, and swans are those who relish Krishna consciousness. So crow class people they relish illicit sex, but swan class people they relish serving Krishna. So that's why one should cultivate this quality of cleanliness. So cultivation of knowledge other than pure devotional service as well as the desire to gain material reward even from religious endeavors are considered impurities. It's called subtle sex. Subtle sex is what? Pujala Pratishtha. Right? Here, gross sex is being spoken of in the verses, but now here we are talking about subtle sex. Srimad Bhagavatam praises the process of chanting and hearing as being quickly effective in cleansing the heart from all unwanted dirty things. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desires for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who developed the urge to hear his messages. Okay. So one should try to hear Krishna Katha, chant holy names attentively. Then what will happen? This tendency for sinful life will reduce, and a day will come when he will be completely pure, like pure gold, without any contamination, 24 karat gold. So bhakti will become pure, and at such a position, there is no chance of further contamination. So one should practice pure devotional service very intensely in the association of pure devotees. And then what will happen? We'll also develop those qualities of pure devotion and be free from all such vices. Then we can, with our strength of purity, one can also convince others to lead a pure life. Because if we ourselves are not pure, then we'll not have the strength or the force to tell others to be pure. So that's why it's our responsibility to first of all become pure, including myself, to become pure, and then preach to others and make others' life perfect. So today we discussed about two things. One is about illicit things and the consequences of it. So one goes to hell called Tapta Surmi, where one has to embrace a molten metal. And another is Vajrakantaka Shalmari, where people who indiscriminately have sex with anybody and everybody are sent. And then we discuss the opposite of that, which is the principle of purity, cleanliness. So one should follow the principle of cleanliness. Then one can easily give up this desire for sexual life. So one should become clean by chanting Hare Krishna, taking bath at least 2 times a day, and keep wearing fresh clothes and keeping our surroundings in mode of goodness. Then the passion is reduced, and the desires for sex life vanishes. So I'll like to pause here and maybe open for comments, right, from the devotees here. I'm ending early because I have to go for a meeting. I'm in Tumkur. I have to travel all the way to Bangalore for a meeting in Nasimgirdhara temple. So I'm ending it early. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Very well explained the sequences and the consequence what is happening nowadays. Dandapranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam, Prabhu. Thank you very much for the practical explanation. And what is subtle sex, Prabhu?
Desire for prestige, adoration, puja la pratishtha, that is subtle sex. And people should respect me, they should honor me, they should reward me. That's called subtle sex. Right?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Gross sex is physical sex, but subtle sex is desire for puja la pratishtha.
Thank you.
Prabhu, Raghav Pandit is the cook, na Prabhu?
Yeah, yes, Mataji?
Raghav Pandit is the cook for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no?
Yeah, no, he's actually he stays in Navadvip. He stays in actually Ekachakra, not Ekachakra. What is that place? Panihati. Near Panihati
Yes,
is the home of Raghav Pandit. Raghav Pandit and Damayanti, brother and sisters. So they used to send a lot of prasads to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was in Jagannath Puri. Every year they'll pack nice prasadam and send to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for his pleasure. So they were expert cooks and very exalted devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam.
And when Nityananda came to Panihati, he had his dinner in the home of Raghav Pandit. That comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Any other questions or comments from the devotees?
Okay, so these topics are a little difficult to discuss, but we have to discuss to maintain purity. So when we discuss these topics of health, we should also request the speakers to discuss the positive also of what is not to be done, but also what can be done. Right? What is the alternative? Like I discussed about cleanliness. Similarly, whatever health we are discussing, we should also discuss the opposite of it. we can engage in devotional service and come out of it. Yeah.
Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Very nice topic, and people very hesitate to discuss openly with many of people. But you very clearly put forth, and by giving a lot of references, it cleanses our mind and heart also. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. We have to discuss such topics. If you don't discuss, then people will be in ignorance.
The hesitation always will be there. Hesitation and fear of acceptance are not.
Yeah. Very discuss. Even in yesterday college program, I spoke all this of how one should avoid properly utilize mobile phones, avoiding pornography, avoiding bad habits, smoking, drinking. I would openly speak. Otherwise, people will naturally want to do such things. When you speak, at least they will have fear of not doing it.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, as you told, this should be told even in the schools and colleges. Because of that only, without that, our generation is getting spoiled.
Yeah.
Even government should take care of this giving ads and all those things of this, whatever in the internet should be banned completely.
It was banned when Modi government came initially, it was banned. But then there is a demand from the youth. So we want it. So now they again allowed, but there are some restrictions. So they put some restrictions and it can be accessed. But someone, even if you ban, boys are very intelligent nowadays. They know they have something called proxy, this and that, and somehow they utilize it. So what we have done in our temple, for all the boys who stay in temple and whom I am preaching to, we told them to put parental control in the mobile phone. Even all brahmacharis have in our temple parental control. And even some pop-up comes, still one cannot open. So this Kaspersky is there. Kaspersky, yeah. So it tracks the time and it also tracks usage of phone, and also any click you make in internet, that is tracked. Okay, and there's a filter. This Kaspersky filters. Okay, these websites cannot be opened. These can be opened, and these apps can be opened limited access, like that. So for all the boys we have put, so that one can be safe, isn't it? So
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
even in our youth centers also, like Surat, Manipal, we have told it boys to put it so that they can be safe.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
That's what happens. They keep using the phone till midnight, doing chatting, WhatsApp. But this software will, okay, by 10 o'clock on, apps off. So I go to rest. Okay, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
for calling me today.
Once again, you have been very, very busy, Prabhu. Thank you very much for your time and emphasizing on the internal and external purity for spiritual advancement. We'll end today's session with Vaishnava.
Hare Krishna.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha.
Kripa sindhu bhesapatidana bhavane Vaishnava Bhunam. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat.
Dandavat Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Jai Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anantapoli Vaishnava Nadi ki jai. Jai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. I'll end this session now.